Shreya Williams, current student here, class of 2013, and today I'll be introducing Grayson Frazier and Meghann Gini's project on the effects of stroboscopic vision training on task performance and retention. And please have your phone tens because they worked really hard on this, and please give them a warm welcome.
Hello, and thank you all for coming. We know it's kind of later in the day, but we still appreciate you being here. So we're really excited to present our project that we've been working the last year on.
So as exercise science majors, we are particularly interested in ways of enhancing sport performance. And today, athletes are always looking for ways to increase, to get bigger, better, and faster. As you all know, the market for supplements and training equipment is booming. But an area that a lot of people do not know about is sports vision training. It wasn't until recently that it was discovered that although it is a sense, it is trainable and can improve. Before, it was all about correcting your vision with glasses and contacts, but now you can actually improve it through training. Meghann will now talk about background and previous research on the subject.
As stated and defined by Holiday, sports vision training is a group of techniques directed to preserve and improve one's visual function with the goal of enhancing sports performance by improving visual ability. And this has really become a popular area of research as you may know, Pacific's School of Optometry is one of the main leaders in this kind of research and product development. There are visual characteristics that are recognized as an important component of sports vision that are contributed to the added benefits that come from sports vision training. Examples of these would be hand-eye coordination, reaction time, tracking objects in motion, peripheral vision, and visual concentration. So therefore, most of the research that's been done on this topic makes the argument that sports vision training is both positive and beneficial. So a little bit of background research in sports vision training begins with Stein, who really evaluated the research of vision in sports and explored the basis for training visual abilities to enhance sports performance. They came to the finding that vision performance may be trainable and even transferable to athletic performance. Abernethy and Wood examined whether visual training programs really work by improving vision and performance by using generalized vision training programs that are considered self-help. And so what they found here is that although these self-help programs might work, they're not going to work for all athletes, and they might only help athletes at certain levels under certain circumstances. And finally, Dutoit studied whether sports vision exercises could improve visual abilities. Pre- and post-test scores were obtained in visual focusing, tracking, hand-eye coordination, and reflex. And the exercises that they used were hitting, throwing, catching a ball, and alphabet letter recognition. And they came to the finding that vision training practice, when done correctly, leads to improvement in nearly all tested abilities and an enhancement of performance. So really, with this slide, what we're taking away is that sports vision training can be beneficial, but it has to be done correctly. So now that we've covered really what sports vision is, we know that there are many different types of vision training techniques, but one that seems to be the most popular is stroboscopic vision or stroboscopic training. And stroboscopic training is performing physical tasks when certain frames of vision are being blocked or in a strobe-like fashion. So an example of that would be if I told you to catch a ball from across the room, but at the same time I was turning on and off the lights. So you wouldn't be able to see the ball the entire way because certain frames of your vision were being taken away when the lights were turning off. A way that this is typically done is through stroboscopic goggles or glasses that produce this effect. And so the idea behind this is that it's limiting the frequency that the visual system has access to in the individual to reduce the amount of visual feedback. And it'll make the individual think faster and react faster as well. So in 2011, Nike came out with their own line of stroboscopic goggles, calling them the Nike Spark Vapor Strobes. And we actually have a pair of them today that we used in our study. So Grayson will put them on and I'll give you a demonstration. So Grayson has them set to 1, which there are 8 different durations of strobe, and this is the fastest, so this would be the easiest to perform a certain skill. You can up the strobe to a slower strobe. So the 7 or 8 would be the easiest to see, or the hardest, because you're limiting more, you're taking away more vision. So when those goggles turn silver, that's the opaque phase you can't see through. And when you can see through them, that's the transparent phase where you can see through them. Nike also offers strobing in both eyes or one eye at a time. And a certain skill that can be fine-tuned by using these would be catching. So a little bit of research behind stroboscopic vision training begins with Applebaum and colleagues, who really took the reins of researching stroboscopic goggles in 2011, which led to the indication that stroboscopic training leads to an improvement in transfer of learned skills and information. Smith and colleagues then asked whether or not a single brief of stroboscopic session could improve anticipatory timing abilities, and how long might those effects last. While training did improve anticipatory timing, only the immediate lasting benefits were assessed in this study. Michov then took a different role on it, and he gave the strobes to NHL hockey players and told them to wear them 10 minutes for each training session during a training camp, and he saw an 18.12% improvement within their performance from pre to post testing.
So the next few studies really focus on athletes and sports teams as a whole. So Clark's study involved a college baseball team undergoing a vision training program, which included stroboscopic vision during their off training. The program lasted for 6 weeks prior to their upcoming spring season, and once their spring season had finished, they compared stats to their season the year before and found that batting averages and slugging percentages all increased significantly. Holliday has conducted the most recent research studying the effects of stroboscopic training. The immediate effects of strobe training were tested on catching performance with Utah State football players, and it was found that their visual performance and catching performance both increased.
So the purpose of our study is that we really wanted to be able to replicate the catching performance that we saw as a common theme in all of our research, but we also wanted to add in different motor tasks. So we thought would have an effect on stroboscopic training. So our purpose with the current study was to provide further evidence within the expanding field of sports vision by examining the effects of stroboscopic visual training on a variety of motor tasks rather than just the catching task. In addition, we wanted to look at if the strobe effect would persist over an extended period of time. In other words, we wanted to see if our participants would be able to retain the information that we were giving them. In addition, we also wanted to look at the differences in performances of athletes and non-athletes within our study.
So our study was IRB approved and consisted of 32 college-age participants. Before any testing was conducted, participants filled out a consent form and a athletic questionnaire based on history and experience. Questions we asked were such as if you were a current athlete on a sports team or not, how many years you've been playing that sport, and your perceived level of athletic ability. Testing included the implementation of 3 different motor tasks in randomized order per participant. So our first task was a card sorting task, which measured choice reaction time, and it required participants to sort through a stack of standard playing cards by suit as quickly as possible. The training portion involved 5 2-minute trials with 30-second breaks in between for the reshuffling of cards for a total of 10 minutes of sorting time while wearing the eyewear.